Hey there, Choose Life Nation. This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and you are watching or listening to another episode of the Rebound Coach Live. I'm really excited to have you here with me today. If this is your first time on a Rebound Coach Live, yes, I had to think about that, on a Rebound Coach Live episode, first of all, thank you so much. Happy 2025. There are a whole lot of places you can spend your time, which is your digital dollar, and I'm so very thankful that you chose to be here. I hope to encourage you today. We have something a little more on the serious end to talk about, but that's not a surprise if you've been here before. And if you haven't, again, welcome. My name is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and I'm a life coach. I serve high achieving women of faith who've been through betrayal or trauma or abuse and who want to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves. And a little bit about me if you haven't been here before. I do that. I serve those women because I am one of those women. Here's the headline, y'all. I was married 10 years to a man who wanted me dead. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for someone who was raised like me in a Christian home. I had godly parents that, they loved God, they loved each other, they were married for a lifetime. But I was molested from the time I was 8 to the time I was 16. And that radically affects how, number one, you see yourself, because those are identity forming years, how you relate to God in a household of faith, and how you relate to men. So fast forward, I met the man that I married and eventually divorced. There were definitely red flags, definitely reasons not to be together. However, as a praying woman, I believed God's answer was yes. And because of that, I figured whatever came, we would outlast it, we'd overcome it. God would swoop in and save the day and change things. And all I had to do was my part. All I had to do was believe. All I had to do was pray. And so that's what I did for the larger part of 10 years. And y'all, trouble came right away and never quite left. We got into a cycle of what I call coping and crisis. So this is where you're never quite satisfied, you never quite get to good, but you are coping, right? And you do the dance on eggshells, trying to avoid the landmine, trying to not upset him, trying to not make things worse for yourself. And it seems like no matter what you do, something always happens. And did that dance for 9 years, better part of 10 years. And no matter how careful you are, every so often a big crisis comes and just blows everything up. And we were in that cycle for a long time. End of 2019, beginning of 2020, everything blew up like for the last time. He left for this other woman, and he ended up, I found out like the next day after he left, he was plotting my murder with said woman. And that's kind of the record scratch moment. You're like, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe this is happening. How in the heck did I get here? And you have some really important questions to answer. You have really important decisions to make. And to make the long story really short, I could allow the identity that my ex-husband had planned for me, and quite frankly, the one I had agreed to tell me who I was, how long I was allowed to live, how I was allowed to express myself as a wife, a woman, a mom, a child of God, right? Because you're threatened on all those levels, or I could choose life. And so, by a series of absolutely divine events, I am still here. We get to have this conversation today. Um, I chose life. And I know there was a lot of details I didn't get to tell you because we have other things to talk about today. So I wrote a book, y'all. I wrote a book about my life, about that entire experience, how my life was saved quite dramatically. And the book is called I Choose Life. I wonder if you can see it. I Choose Life, Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. And it is not only a story about trauma and drama, because yes, but also how to understand, because there's a lot of misunderstandings. Why didn't she just leave? Why did you stay so long? Why did you believe that? Right. So there are predispositions. There's things that set you up for situations like that. And it's not just me, but many, many others. Something I learned in coming out of my situation, I learned that there were so many women who loved God so fiercely and were asking themselves the same questions I was asking myself. Is it okay to leave? Is this a sin? Would I be okay? What does life look like after abuse of this kind? Is it even abuse? All those questions. And this book answers those questions. So if anything in my story resonated with you, if you survived betrayal or trauma or abuse, if you love someone who may be in a domestic violence situation, especially emotional abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, some of those forms are just not talked about very often. If any of those things are in your story or someone you love, you need this book. You can get it at thereboundcoach.com/book. That is thereboundcoach.com/book. You can get a hard copy version of the book, just like this one, or you can go to Amazon and order an ebook copy. If you get one from me, I will personally mail it to you and sign it and write you a love note. You can get all of that information at thereboundcoach.com/book. And I have very few of these left, which is amazing. So I'm very, very happy about. So again, you can find that at thereboundcoach.com/book. Okay. Y'all, I kind of trembled about whether or not to talk about this topic because it's kind of fresh. A lot of times, like the story I just shared with you, is several years old. I've been divorced and unlearning and relearning and growing and becoming more and more free for since 2020. So we're in 2025. It's been some years. And the benefit of that is I can look back at a former season and tell you what I've learned. And hindsight's 2020, and there's lots of ways to reflect that's healthy. This is a little fresher. And while that makes me nervous, I know that I have always grown through sharing what's going on in my heart, even if that's in real time. So here we are talking about a secret. Can I tell you a secret? My heart is hurting and was hurting, and there was nobody to tell. Because I'm the kind of person that people lean on me and I don't lean on them. Even, in my worst of times, in the story of coming out of abuse that I just shared with you, I had to, by necessity, reach out to people in my life. But I wasn't used to doing that. I wasn't used to saying, hey, I need help. Hey, I need you to listen. Hey, I need you to come pray. I wasn't that kind of person. And just by nature, not because there weren't people that loved me. There definitely were in all seasons of my life, including now. I just wasn't in the habit of reaching out. And in this season, I know that there's a such thing as seasonal depression. I know that there's a such thing as like holiday blues, when you're missing a loved one or something. But man, I just felt stuck. And I felt like my heart was hurting and I had no one to tell. And when that happens to me, I like to write. I like to kind of write what's going on in my head and heart. And sometimes it takes form of poetry. Sometimes I'm just journaling. Sometimes I write a song. It just all depends on where my heart is. And I wrote this not quite poetry and not quite journaling, something in between, that I'm going to share with you today, because I don't believe that I'm by myself in feeling that when your heart is hurting, there's nobody to tell. And I just want to kind of tell you where I was. I am doing better for all intents and purposes. I am doing better. But I think that, you've heard the phrase, check on your strong friends. And it's because women that are high achievers go through seasons that are really tough sometimes. And we're like, I call that high octane. When you're strong, you're really strong. And when you're low, you're really low. And because we're high functioning, sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes you can't tell when someone's struggling in their mind and heart, and when their burden is heavy. You can't tell. And so I wrote this for us, for, for those of us that are the strong friend, for those of us that are ever working, um, and not always sitting with yourself, not always feeling. So I'm going to read to you what I penned down. Again, not quite poetry, not quite journaling, somewhere in between there. Okay, here we go. Can I tell you a secret? My heart is hurting and there's no one to tell. It's a secret because I'm supposed to be the expert. I'm supposed to have it together. I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about and practice everything that I preach. I'm supposed to have endless opportunity and positive outlook. But y'all, I'm struggling, grossly underproducing and beating myself up for it. There's a sense of impending doom that lurks behind my consciousness, and raging anxiety wakes me up in the witching hour and doesn't let me go back to sleep. Every day is so weighty. Chances to make things better feel like uphill climbs through gravel, and I have no shoes. Everything just feels impossible. My body bleeds too much. I don't know what's wrong with it and afraid to find out. My heart bleeds too much, a slow but ever present trickle. My mouth bleeds too much, hoping to pay for someone's interest, time, or attention with my pain. Is it a fair trade? I'm passing the time with screen distractions, but that's working less to trick my mind into feeling okay. I feel like a failure, like there's no hope, afraid of the future, and under such a weighty exhaustion, the kind that isn't relieved by sleeping, just an overwhelming weight of exhaustion with no way out. Now, that's all I've written for that. And I know that sounds super depressing. And it is. Like, it is. But I don't think that I'm alone in that. Sometimes that's the way life feels, just heavy and exhausting, and like there's no reprieve. And you sleep, but you're not rested. And every opportunity. So when I say opportunity, like algorithms be algorithming. And even if you're scrolling, there's ads for something they think you'll want, right? Something that looks like, hey, this is going to be something good for you. Hey, this is going to be an opportunity. And you eventually get tired of seeing those, and you eventually have decision fatigue and mental loads. Those are fancy words for just exhausted, right? Just being exhausted. So I was definitely there. Um, the benefit is I have experienced a lot of training and a lot of coaching and a lot of personal development. And so I do have tools to address that feeling of dread and weight and heavy. And I want to share some of those with you, and really just thoughts that um, help motivated me, right? And we always know the right things to do, not always, but often we know the right things to do and struggle to do the things, right? So here are some thoughts, some ideas that I hope can encourage you if you find yourself in a slump, if the new year, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day has come and gone, and you might still be in those holiday blues. You still might be, in that winter kind of depression. And it has nothing to do with certain circumstances in your life. Circumstances might be just fine, right? It might be just fine. And you're like, I don't know why I feel like this. It may have nothing to do with your current circumstances. But regardless of why, here's some things to keep in mind to help you climb up and out. Okay. Number one, waiting will not help. Nothing gets better if you do nothing. So often, often the path of least resistance is to just like exist through your days, right? I'm just going to scroll. I'm just going to sleep. I'm just going to eat. I'm going to stay in bed longer. I'm going to stare at the walls. I'm going to stare at my phone. Um, I'm just going to exist, or I'm just going to wait. And I think underneath that is just a thought of like, if I just wait, something is going to change, right? Something's going to change. Someone's going to change. My life is going to change if I just wait it out. And that's not real. Unfortunately, that's not real. Nothing gets better if you do nothing, right? The only way the only way to make things change is to make them change, right? And even if the them is you, right? It's not a circumstance or a situation, it's you, right? There's action to take here. Point number 2, no one's coming to save you. And that sounds not happy. Dallas, I thought you were motivating me. I thought you were going to help me choose life, right? So no one's coming to save you. What does that mean though? That means that you have to be the savior for yourself. Now, am I talking about savior from sin? No, there's only one of those. You're definitely not a him, right? That's not what I'm talking about. But as far as it's like point 1, waiting will not help. Just waiting by itself will not make anything change. And the same is true. No one's coming to save you. You are the one. You're the hero in your own story. You are the hero in your own story. And when we choose not to take action, the action that gets us closer to our goals, we're choosing not to be saved. There's no one else coming. You are the one to save you. Okay. Number 3, feel the feelings. Feel the feelings. Stop running from yourself. So my dad used to call them love hungers. And I always wondered where that came from, but he used to call it love hungers. So these are the things that we do to kind of stifle pain or avoid pain or escape pain, right? So we sleep, we eat, have sex, do drugs, either like try to go experience all the highs, thrills, and chills and spills, stay in drama, stay in gossip, keep our attention stuffed with other things, with distractions of any kind, including like scrolling. Okay, so keeping a stream of media, keeping noise going, just things that just drown out your own thoughts. And I know, okay, I know I'm not the only one here, but I know that the quiet can be really loud sometimes. And I know what's happening inside can sometimes be so much louder than what's happening outside. And that's okay. It's okay to sit in your own noise, to sit in your own mental traffic. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What I would encourage you to do, for those of you who are spiritual, and if you're hanging out here, it is likely that you are spiritual. For those of you who are spiritual, I encourage you to invite the Holy Spirit into the traffic and into the noise with you, and to help you kind of siphon that through, right? Because it can be a lot. I understand. But feel the feelings. Don't run from you, okay? Face the action or actions you've been avoiding. The way out is through. Y'all, the book I showed you earlier is my second book. My first book is called Goodbye or Go Through: How to Live Happily Ever After When Life is No Fairy Tale. And Goodbye or Go Through is based on that same premise. The way out is through. The way out is through, because imagine we are, on a journey, right? And if you've heard the phrase, if you're going through hell, don't stop, right? Like don't stop there. And when we avoid, and when we scroll, and when we sleep, and when we distract instead of move in purpose, we are literally stopping in the negativity and like sitting there and camping out. Like, I'm going to camp out right here. I'm just going to camp out right here and Be upset and keep avoiding the pain and avoiding the feelings and avoiding the action so that I can numb out for a minute. And it takes more and more effort to get that same level of numb, right? Because whatever's inside just grows louder. And so I encourage you to face the action you've been avoiding, because the way out is through. And while there is discomfort in that action, there is discomfort because you've been avoiding it because it's not comfortable, right? So even though there is discomfort in the action, it is the only way through. And as you do the action more and more and more and more, whatever emotional walls or obstacles or triggers that you've set up in front of it will lose their power because you're doing the thing anyway. And you'll have to look back and you know what? I did that thing and I did not die, right? Or whatever it is you're afraid of. It didn't happen. You're alive and you can do it, right? So face the action you've been avoiding. The way out is through. The next one, I didn't number them, so I don't know what number one, but the next thought, whatever you're waiting on to be happy, don't wait. Don't wait. I know that, when I was young, a lot of kids think, oh, when I'm an adult and I can do whatever I want, I'll be happy, right? And then you get to adulthood and you're like, man, this is hard. Right? When I get further in my career, I'll be happy. When I get married, I'll be happy. When I get unmarried, I'll be happy. When I have kids, I'll be happy. When my kids are grown, I'll be happy. When I have money, I'll be happy. It doesn't matter. Like, whatever you're waiting for to be happy, don't wait. Just don't. Like, it's a choice we can make. Don't wait. You can choose joy and you can choose life. You can choose life. Just like the book I wrote, I could allow that identity that my ex-husband had planned for me to tell me who I was, or I could choose life, right? And choosing life is not just like a catchphrase. It is a choice for growth in the face of discomfort, in the face of, hey, this is gonna suck for a while, but I'm just gonna roll up my sleeves and get it done because I choose joy, I choose life, I choose peace, I choose satisfaction. Cultivating satisfaction instead of ruminating over lack, right? We have a choice. We can make decisions that benefit us. And I encourage you to. I'm doing it right along with you. Doing it right along with you. And as you're doing those things, baby steps are okay. Know that you don't have to climb Mount Everest in a day or two or even three. You literally can take one tiny baby step at a time. As a matter of fact, that's recommended for long-term growth and benefit. So you're not beating yourself up. Excuse me. You're not beating yourself up because you didn't climb Mount Everest yesterday, right? You're just doing one step at a time, baby steps. And last but not least, and I probably remind you at least once an episode, not to do this alone. Whatever journey you're on, don't do it by yourself. There's no way we're not successful by ourselves. This is why all the New Year's resolutions fail, right? And the ones that succeed are the ones that are done in the community. They're done with accountability. You have a personal trainer or a coach or a friend or a group of friends or a community somewhere that's holding your feet to the fire, that's holding you accountable. Hey, you said you were going to do 1, 2, and 3. Did you do it? Right? Not to beat you up, but to spur you on, because it can be very tough to climb out of comfort zones. I know what it is to long for comfort and long for love and just feel like it is so far away and feel like your job is to pour love out to everyone and to comfort everyone and to take care of everyone, and that there's nobody to do that for you. I know that feeling. And I have the honor and the benefit of hosting a sacred space for healing, for love, for connection. And if you are in the Tampa Bay area, it's coming up very soon, and it's called A Day of Healing. This is our 3rd annual A Day of Healing. And this year, it's a Day of Healing Love Fest. That's the name of it, a Day of Healing Love Fest 2025. And it's happening at Shiloh Farms, which is in Odessa, Florida. If you are anywhere in the West Central or Central Florida area, I highly recommend that you come and join us. It is a ladies' event, it's a women's event, and it's going to be amazing. I don't have a long commercial for you like I normally would have a video of some sort for you, but I do want you to go check it out. You can learn more about this. It's on Saturday, February 8th. That is Saturday, February 8th, from 10 in the morning to about 3. And it's all day. Lunch is provided. Breakfast items are provided. It is literally a one-day retreat, a come away with me event, where you can just like put the cape down for a day. What do I mean by that? The Superwoman cape, right? The Superwoman cape that you carry and you got to do for the kids and you do for the man, you do for the house. The weight. You can put that down for a day and just be you and let someone tend to you, and tend to yourself. It's a really cool, amazing experience. So again, you can find out all the information on that at ADOH, that stands for A Day of Healing, ADOH, lovefest.eventbrite.com. I know that's long. I'm going to repeat it again. Not sure even if you can see it on this screen. I'm going to blow this up to see if you can see it, if it helps. ADOH, that stands for A Day of Healing, lovefest.eventbrite.com. That's how you can find more information about it. I would love to see you there. If you are in this area, if you're in the Florida area, feel free to put in the comments, Love Fest, right? Or Ready for Love, something fun like that. And I will follow up and make sure you all have a link to join us on Saturday, February 8th at A Day of Healing, Love Fest 2025. It's going to be amazing. And y'all, let's just not do this alone. Let's not struggle alone. Let's not fight alone. Let's not cry alone. Let's not do this alone. I am here. We can do this together. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. No matter where you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please like this video. Please share this video. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're not on YouTube, head over to my YouTube. I would really appreciate it. It's the Rebound Coach, and like and subscribe. I would really appreciate your support over there. And share this message with someone who could be encouraged. Someone who might be a little more melancholy than usual, or someone who's not showing any signs. Okay? Because we don't always show the signs, right? Some of us hide pretty well. So send this to your strong friend. Send this to the person that's the most confident person in your friend group. You're like, oh, they never have any issues. Send this video to them. Just be like, I don't know, girl. I don't know if you need this or not. I just want to slide this your way. Okay? Because some of us have some heart hurts and there's nobody to tell. There's nobody they can trust to bear their burden, because they are bearing everyone else's burden. Even if that's their truth, right? Even if it's not the truth, it's their truth. It can be just as strong. So thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Thank you for letting me tell you about my heart hurt and give you an opportunity to share space. So thank you so much again. I will see you next time. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, choose life.